Your knowledge, a closer look at leaves. If you live in a region with cold winters, you know what happens in the spring. The air gets warmer, the days get longer. Green plants sprout in the garden and along roadsides. Everywhere you look outside, you can see green as plants reveal their hidden treasures, leaves. Leaves come in many shapes, sizes, and textures. Although leaves may appear quite different, their parts work in similar ways to accomplish their main task, making sugar for plants. As you've already learned, plants need carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight to make their food. How do these materials get into the plant and collect in the leaves to be turned into sugar? Parts you cannot easily see. As you've previously learned, multicellular organisms have different types of cells that perform various functions to help keep the organism alive. For example, the outer surface of a leaf is called the epidermis. It is a thin, tough layer of cells that covers both surfaces of the leaf. Epidermal cells usually secrete a waxy film called a cuticle, which protects the leaf from being injured and from losing too much water. How does water actually get to the leaves to help make the sugar the plant needs to grow and survive? That job is left up to the roots and a specialized group of cells known as xylem cells. Roots are complex plant structures that are made up of many different specialized cells. One main function of roots is to absorb water and minerals from the soil that a plant needs to survive. Specialized cells are bundled together in a type of tissue known as xylem. Most plants have xylem tissue, which moves the material the roots absorb throughout the plant's body. Imagine your own veins and arteries. Their function is to move oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, and many other materials throughout your body. The xylem tissue acts as the veins of a plant. Instead of moving blood, xylem tissue transports water and minerals throughout the plant's body. And these here are all examples of xylem. Although roots can absorb water and minerals, they cannot absorb carbon dioxide from the soil. Scattered mostly throughout the lower epidermis of a leaf are tiny openings called stomata, and the singular form of that is stoma. Stomata are tiny structures in the leaves that open and close to allow the plant to exchange gases with the atmosphere. When stomata are open, carbon dioxide and oxygen can move into and out of the leaf. Bean-shaped guard cells cover the stomata. As the guard cells absorb water from adjoining cells, they swell and bend. This opens the stoma, allowing the gas exchange. Signals in the cell later cause water to flow out of the guard cells, and they shrink and pull together, closing the stoma and preventing gas exchange. The stomata of most plants are open during the day and closed at night. One unfortunate side effect of having the stomata open is that water vapor can also escape, a process called transpiration. Most of the water that a plant takes in through its roots is actually lost through this process. So how do plants harness the light energy needed for photosynthesis? Well, between the and lower epidermis is another layer of different cells called the mesophyll layer. I'm going to pause here. We're going to go back up to this picture for a second. And if you look at this picture, it shows a guard cell and a stoma, along with the epidermal cells that surround it. And you can see in the first picture that the stoma is open, and in the second picture, the stoma is closed. So the mesophyll layer houses tightly packed cells whose function is to go through photosynthesis. This spongy layer provides room for water and gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide to travel within the leaf. Mesophyll cells also contain structures called chloroplasts, which are the main sites for photosynthesis. Inside chloroplasts is a green pigment called chlorophyll. These cells and the structures within them are able to absorb the light energy and chemically can change it into sugar. Photosynthesis, making food and energy. Leaves are the primary photosynthetic organ in a plant. This means that leaves make the majority of the sugar that the plant needs to survive. During photosynthesis, the chlorophyll molecules in the chloroplasts absorb the wavelengths of sunlight. Using this energy, specialized structures in the leaves combine water from the xylem with the carbon dioxide that enters through a form of sugar called glucose. The leaves do not keep all the sugar they produce. They use what they need and transport the rest of the sugar to other plant structures such as flowers, stems, and roots. Most plants have a set of specialized cells called phloem, which is another type of tissue bundle that acts like a vein. We're going to stop here and just take a look. This is what we are talking about. The phloem's function is to carry glucose from the leaves to the rest of the plant. The oxygen produced during photosynthesis is released into the atmosphere through the opened stomata to be used by other organisms such as animals. So the next time you look at a leaf, remember that it does more than just provide shade. It is also a sugar factory, a water preservation system, and a source of food and oxygen. And if we look at this picture of the leaf anatomy, we will see all the different parts that we just talked about. So we have the cuticle, which is this top layer. We have the xylem, which is this light green layer here. The phloem, which is that bluish colored layer. The stoma is that little yellow guy down there. And then we see that carbon dioxide goes into the cell and oxygen comes out. And we also have the epidermis as well. And we didn't talk about the other two, so don't worry about them for now.